Hello.
Hello, animators and artists. My name's Mike, and welcome to another Toon Boom interview. We are currently highlighting the artists that contributed to the Toon Boom Harmony 20 demo video. This week, we are interviewing Gonzalo Azpiri, the owner and general producer at Hookup Animation in Buenos Aires. Let's start by talking about your work at Hookup Animation. Gonzalo, what does your studio specialize in?
Hi, how are you? Hi, everybody. Hookup Animation is a 20-year-old animation studio run by 3 partners. And we do mostly services for other animation companies or studios mostly. We work for Disney, for Cartoon Network, for studios around the world, actually. And we do 2D animation, CGI, some special effects, character design. We cover all the stages on animation production, and yeah, it's been a fun ride.
That's awesome. So what does an average workday look like for you at Hookup Animation?
Well, actually, the work varies a lot, hopefully, because so there's no a lot of place for routine, and with the 3 partners can manage different stages of production, like producing or direction or character design, background design, animation, effects, all the different stages that combined form an animation production. And depending on the work, maybe I can act as a producer, or in other work, I can act as a director or as a character designer or as a animator, and the same goes for my partners. And depending on how busy is one of us, or how suitable one of us is for one particular project, we is the stage that we take care of, and the role that we get involved in that project.
Now, I've heard the term hookup used when talking to storyboard artists. For those listening, what does that term mean in animation?
That term in animation means when 2 different scenes have a connection between them. There's a movement that starts in one scene and continues on the other scene. So it's a mark that the artist put for the artist, that if that scene is split between 2 different artists, they know, each one knows that they have to consider the movement that comes from the previous scene. So also when we thought about that name, the partners came from different animation production units, one from background painting, other from background layout, other from character layout or animation. So it was like a hookup between the different stages of production in one in one company. So that's what we came up with that name. And we also like the name as phonetically, it's a very common animation term, and so we really liked it.
Well, let's get into your scene from the Harmony 20 demo video.
All right.
Yeah, so we'll switch over and have a look. So let's talk about the prompt that you were given and how you interpreted it for this project.
The prompt is to produce like a 5-second or 6-second scene for the release of Harmony 20. So Toon Boom gave us a text. We made a call between all the animators that were involved in the project, and they gave us a text that it was about the spirit of this new release of the software. And each of us has had to choose a part of that text as inspiration for the scene that we have to create. So I chose every creative dream and every style. And just because I needed to choose one, I didn't, at that moment, I didn't know what I was going to do with that, but I liked it. And so that's the part of the text that I chose. Every creative dream, every style. And so that's all. We needed to choose the characters we would use, the style of the scene, the everything. So the only thing that was a requirement is that I needed, my part was a part that needed to combine animation with live action. That's what the only thing I that Toon Boom required me to do. And that was tricky because when the project started was in the middle of the quarantine. Here in Argentina, we are still under the quarantine. So there was no possibility to shoot anything. And the animation to work properly with the live action, it needs to be planned in advance. So the live action needs to be shot with the animation in mind. Of course, you first shot the live action and then you do the animation. So when you shot the live action, you need to have that already, know where the character is going to start the scene, where it moves, how the interacts with the environment and everything. So there was no possibility to do that. So I needed to go to stock image websites where you can choose from thousands of live action footage or pieces of film. But of course, they're not meant to be applied with animation. They're just random and very standard uh, live action shots. So I chose an underwater scene where the character doesn't have like that doesn't that he wouldn't need to touch anything like borders or floor, or because that requires more work like camera tracking and masking. And for the time that I was that was allocated for the work, that wasn't a possibility. Also, for that kind of live action interaction with animation, you need a lot of artists that for camera tracking, for masking, for integration with the live action. So usually many artists are involved in that kind of scene. This wasn't the case. I was going to work alone in this scene, so I needed to know to choose the right live action footage for me to work on.
Yes. So Gonzalo, you were telling me before that this scene has a mix of hand-drawn animation and deformers. Do you want to talk a little bit about how you made the character?
Yeah, when I designed the character, I wasn't thinking first what kind of technique I was going to use. I decided that more when I was more in the animation part of the process. But in betweening is not one of my favorite parts of the animation stages, because usually it's also in animation production, the animator does the keyframe, and then some assistant animator might do the in-betweening and the clean up of the line. As I was doing all the work, I needed to save time in the most time-demanding stages of the process. That assistant animation is one of them. So with the deformers, I can have all the in-betweens I want and I know the character will stay on model. That's very important to me because it's a sign that the work is a quality work, it's a professional work, that the character stays on model, very consistent throughout the scene, and doesn't deform in a weird way. Or so I did, for most of the parts, I did the arms and legs as traditional animation, frame by frame, hand-drawn animation. And for the torso and face and head, the head and the face of the character, I use deformers. That gives me the possibility to have the character turn around and rotate and still maintain their look, right, and their model.
And since we're on the underwater segment of your scene, you're mentioning before how you're doing some of the 2D effects. Do we just want to take a quick look at some of the bubbles and how they were introduced into the scene?
Sure. Yeah, they are. Of course, I animated the character, all the character moving, and then I checked out some live action footage on YouTube. I searched for people diving, swimmers diving into the water in slow motion. So I could check how the bubbles react to, or the water reacts to a person diving, right? So how the bubbles move. It wasn't supposed to be hyper realistic because after all, it's a 2D scene, it's a 2D character, and it's still a 2D render, but I still wanted to have a realistic feel, right? So that's why I checked live action scenes from people diving into the water to see how the shadows of the water varies when the character dives, and all kind of stuff. What kind of bubbles, the different bubbles that appear, big bubbles, smaller bubbles, slower bubbles, faster bubbles. So I tried to make a good mix of that. And Toon Boom has a lot of possibilities to have transparency, different blending modes that we can mix different layers, play with the colors, with the blur, with the border. So it gave me a lot of freedom. Actually, this is not like the area that I most take care in my studio. I don't do much of the compositing, but it was fun to explore these possibilities in Toon Boom, and I really like the result. Of course, when you are working on the scene, you are on a OpenGL mode that it's not a rendering mode, but for you to work, it's a lot faster. And then when you render the scene, you can see how the final result of all the input that you all the different nodes that you work on the node view, adding these blurs and transparency, and this is like the final look.
So we actually had some internal debate about what exactly the creature in your scene is. I thought he looked like a humanoid ferret. I've seen him described as a fox or a lion.
Yeah.
What inspired the design? Where did it come from?
I don't know. It was really is. I don't know either what it is exactly. I had in the past. I had another character that I designed a few years ago. That it was a bear, right? And I really liked that the design of the face. I really liked it, and so when I started to design the character, I was drawn in, I was moving towards that direction of that bear design I did a few years ago. So it was supposed to be like a fox, but that mask is like I know it gives a different sensation. So I don't know exactly what it is, to be completely honest with you.
And you also sent me a file that had all of the color explorations you did for the character.
Yeah.
Do you want to walk through some of the different color palettes and design choices you made when thinking about your hero?
Sure. First, I knew I wanted a very dynamic scene. It was as Toon Boom didn't give us, I mean, they gave us a lot of freedom to create this scene. I said, okay, I'm going to try things that I've never done before. So I've never done a camera, animated camera, like the scene that I have. And so if I'm going to have an animated camera, it's going to be a very dynamic scene. So whether the character will be running, it can be a plane, it can be a character running or skateboarding or snowboarding or some dynamic action. So if you're going to have a dynamic action, the character has to be dressed accordingly. So I want it to be like kind of fantasy character, but not in a classic way. So it has like a tracksuit with this jacket. And so as you can see, at first I started to explore different designs, more like a mix between a human and an animal. This is more like the final version of the character, and this like a more weird kind of character. But this one, I thought it looks like a log, you know, like a tree, and I didn't like much that. Uh, so, but yeah, that's the inspiration was that bear that I mentioned before. Let me see if I have it here. Just one moment. Maybe I can find it fast enough or don't.
Well, while you're looking for that, I'm going to ask you about some of the choices
Sure.
of color that you came to. So I know you wanted to have a scene where the background was really dark and the character itself was lit almost as if it was daylight. Do you want to talk a little bit about some of the things that inspired you to do that, or what you liked about that
Yeah,
exploration?
yeah. Also, there are once I had the character design, this one, I chose this one. It's time to put to explore different options of colors. So I also knew I always liked illustrations that have like a dark sky or dark background, but the characters are lit as they were in plain daylight. So I explored different. Oh, this is the bear, by the way, that inspired me. This is a bear I designed a few years ago that inspired. I got inspiration for the face of this character. So it was time to explore the different options for my character. And once I have this, it's very easy for me to explore different possibilities with the line, with the, because I have in this part, you can see I have the character divided in different layers where I can change the color of the jacket or the skin or the nose or whatever, right? So it was very fast for me to come up with a lot of options. Actually, my daughters helped me decide what which way to go, and so yeah, I wanted to have very striking colors. I knew I was going for a dark sky, so all the colors, while I was exploring the different color options, I put a dark background to see how it was, how was the contrast with the character. So yeah, I was exploring, and I came also while I was making the different options, I thought it would be great to have this kind of texture on the face. The character moved very fast, and you might not be able to notice correctly, but it has this texture on the forehead and on the sides of the head, and also on the chest. And so it's the final version. It looks like this one, but not exactly. And I also, another thing that I do while I'm checking the colors, I try to check the contrast by adding a grayscale layer to see how the different values are in relation with each other. So it needs to have contrast, but not too much. One part that is not so important doesn't need to stand out too much. So this way I can check how are the colors balanced between each other, the values balanced between each other, apart from the hue that I choose. So once I came up with the final color, I made like a concept of the whole scene, right? My character with the colors I chose, with the kind of the perspective I wanted to have on the scene, and the rest of the environment. As it is an animated background, and it's not a 3D scene, right? It's still 2D. I need to have like very simple elements that that there will be the form in perspective throughout the scene, and I have these speed lines that help sell the effect of the character running very, very fast. So yeah, once I'm okay with this, I'm able to create the character turnaround. That is the model that I need. Let me see if I have it. Also, I should have it here. Sorry that I didn't open it before, but here's the.
While you're opening it, I can ask you a question about
Sure.
how this character is different from the characters you usually work with.
Well, I wanted to have more like a modern kind of character. We work a lot with classic. You can see our demo reel. We have like Mickey Mouse, Winnie the Pooh, all the characters from Cartoon Network, the classic like Dexter's Lab and Johnny Bravo, and also the regular show Steven Universe, the current ones, right? But I wanted, as we have the opportunity to design the characters, I was aiming to have like a more like a modern kind of look in the clothes that the character is wearing, and also the I don't know, the style. It has no this one has a line, but the final character doesn't have an outline in the final scene. So that's something that gives a fresh look and feeling. And that's one of the things that I kept in mind while I was deciding what the look, right? And you can see it here. The character has no lines except for some internals that I need to show the different fingers or the hair or the eyes. But apart from that, the line is the same color as the area that they are outlining, right? So I did the character turnaround, and then I knew that I was going to have the head created with deformers. So apart from this turnaround, I needed a head turnaround. That this is let me hide the guides. So I need to have this drawing as a base when I'm creating the deformers to know the range of movement that the head will have, right? Probably is more than that I needed, but it's good to have this as a backup. So with just one drawing separated in the side, the mask, the ears, the inner ears, the eyes, the nose, and the mask, the hair, I need to divide the character, the head of the character, quite a lot. But once I have that, deforming each part, I can create each of these poses that I have, or different views that I have from the head. So once I have that, I can in between the any head orientation that I choose, and Toon Boom will create all the in-betweening between those key poses. So as I mentioned before, in-betweening is not my favorite part of the traditional animation process. So it really helped me keep the character on model and still have the possibility to have this kind of detail, because if you have a character that with this so much hair and different textures on it, it will be very, very difficult to in between that in a traditional animation scene. So with this, I can have just one drawing of this hair deform throughout the scene, and I know it will have the same number of hair lines in all the scene. I won't be losing any of these in the different poses as the movement of the character moves forward. So yeah, that's what I was thinking.
All right, let's. Why don't we jump back into the scene, because I have a bunch of questions to ask about the
All
initial
right.
scene where the character is running through the forest.
All right. Let me open it.
And while you're queuing that up, which features in Toon Boom Harmony were the most useful on this project? And did you try any tools in Harmony that you otherwise might not have used if you weren't working on a demo video with us?
Well, if I wasn't using Harmony, I wouldn't have been able to do the scene this way for sure. And because I don't know other software that can have this powerful rig that I can deform the different parts of the body and have this perfect in between between key poses. That's no, there's no comparison between this software in that feature with others, because it's simply not available in others as far as I know. So the freedom that the software gives me is that I can do this kind of scene because I know I will be able to pull it off. I will be able to have a good quality scene with the character staying on perfectly on model and without losing consistency, and have a complex movement with the character with different sizes, with different views, with a complex action. So yeah, I was very, very, very happy with it. But this actually is a hybrid character, because some parts of it are hand-drawn, animated, like a drawing by drawing, and other parts of the character are made using deformers. So yeah, it's like it's a complex scene, but very, very fun to work on. As you can see here, let me select. Every part that I can select is made of different deformers, right? here I have the head has a lot of, let me see, it has a lot of deformation tools, right? Or applied to the different drawings. Because if you see, if I choose, for instance, one part of the if I choose the mask, it's just this drawing, this one drawing deformed. I can create any pose I want for this mask, right? So I have to divide the character. So as I was mentioning, the legs are made in traditional animation, right?
Oh, wow.
I don't care about these lines crossing because I don't use actually this art layer. Because also every layer that you create has embedded 4 more layers that you can play with and combine and create amazing effects. That thing you were asking about, what features did I use in Harmony? This feature of having 4 different layers embedded into one layer, it's like a very central in how you plan the character, and it's amazing. And also this new version has a lot of gadgets that you can use to make the project more manageable, where you can select and you can color and you can mark different parts of the scene, and you can identify them very quickly. And yeah, that's also great.
One of the things I really like about the scene is, even though it's entirely 2D, the opening sequence where your character jumps over a car, it feels very believably 3D. It feels like it is taking place in an actual space. Do you want to talk a little bit about how you planned this part of the sequence?
Yeah. First of all, once I chose what movement the character would do, I created on a 3D software, I created this movement with very, very basic shapes and ground, and modeled almost with primitives objects. I created this scene where the character, where the camera was moving, and that way I could choose the timing of the action very well, very precisely. And once that is locked, I render also very, very fast render I import it into Harmony, and then I start tracing the different 3D elements into 2D objects and animating them, like the trees, like these different ground planes, right? And also the car. There I have the car. Every part of the car is deformed to give this action, to give this perspective feeling, and also in this part, the action is in slow motion. That's what I thought it would be fun to do. The cars are moving very, very fast, but in this part, the camera kind of goes into slow motion mode. And there you can see a city in the back, and there's a billboard with the phrase that I got for inspiration: every creative dream, every style. So yeah, it gives a 3D feeling, as you said, because I use a 3D reference that I did on another software. So it was also fun to combine this, and it's something I wanted to do, something that I didn't do before. So I explore like a camera moving with 3D reference with a character, that I'm not usually. It's not the usual character that I work with, even though it's my own character, but it's not the style that we usually do for other clients, at least.
Yeah, I think that's great. I can see that we're getting a few questions in the chat. One question is, what was the part of the project that you enjoyed the most? This is coming from a user named Ziff.
All right. What I enjoyed most, I really like when I'm planning the scene. The most creative part of the process is when, of course, when you design the character. When I got to design the character, it was great. I really like that. And also, I really like the part when I'm doing the first animation pass. That is all hand drawn, no deformations at all. That is traditional animation, frame by frame, trying to come up with the right movement, thinking about the accents and the timing and the line of action of the character. That's the part that I like most.
Exis Triask is asking. He's asking a lot of questions, so I'm going to try
All
to
right.
distill this. How did you find the learning curve in Harmony, and what was your process picking up the software?
Well, I've been using Harmony for quite a few years now, and for the traditional animation part is very, very fast because it's planned as you are working on paper. My background is from traditional animation, paper animation. So with just a few tools, you can do traditional animation just as well as on paper, and better, because you can test your work every 5 seconds if you want. In traditional animation, you have to flip your drawings, and that's the way you have to see how your animation is going. But with this, you can check it anytime you want. And so for that, it's very, very, I would say it's very fast process for you to learn the very few tools you need to do traditional animation. Then if you want to go for more advanced style or techniques like this one with the formers, it's really intuitive, I would say. It has some technical things that you have to learn and understand, but it's once you get that, you yourself will find yourself coming up with new solutions using these tools for your animation. It's like very intuitive. So I would say that in a few months, maybe 6 months, you will training with this and trying the different techniques. You have a very, very good picture of the tools of the software.
So, Gonzalo, I know that at Hookup Animation, you do a lot of different projects for a lot of different clients. But generally, how did this sequence compare in scope with the other projects that you and your studio have worked on in the past? And was there anything that surprised you?
What surprised me the most was that they gave us total freedom to choose our characters and choose the scene that we wanted to do, and it was actually it was very nice from a client from Toon Boom to give us that freedom, because it's a recognition to us as artists and as creators, uh, uh, to have the confidence to give us that freedom. It was really, really nice. So it was the projects that we work mostly in our company are for different clients that they have their characters like Disney or Cartoon Network, or they said, okay, this is the script that you need to work on, and these are the characters, and we take it from there. But the characters are already designed, are already set. They have their personality, their way of movement, and the way they move. They are animated, their style. That's all set. You take it from there, and it's also fun to create scenes for them, and different project is what we do for a living, and we love it. But it's also this project was very, very fun because we came up with everything almost. The character, the style, the scene, as you can see in that demo, the scenes that the different artists have are very different. They don't look anything. They don't have anything in common. So that was very fun. That's the main difference between this project and all the others that we do at the company.
Hey, Gonzalo, aside from your scene, which of the scenes was your favorite?
Apart from mine, I like actually the first one. Which one? The one? No, the one that this character is looking at the mirror and he transgenders or something like that, or changes her or his look. Like that part of the text is talking about I think being yourself or something like being your true self, and the character changes by looking at the mirror.
Yeah,
Changes
that's the hand-drawn anime scene by Darstagio. I
yeah
think it was animated by Artel and his team, and it's
I
really
loved it.
fantastic.
Yeah, fantastic.
Hey,
The animation and the concept itself, it's very, very moving and touching. Very nice.
when did you start animating, and how did that lead to you founding an animation studio?
Well, I started animating when I was around 20 years old, and there wasn't there were no places to learn animation in Argentina at that moment, and so was very hard. Also, no books available, almost no way to learn animation, so it was very difficult. So I started going to. I found an animation course that some animator was giving at his house, and I learned that way, right? Going to different animation courses, but not like a professional training. And I got into a small production, working as an assistant animator, and then I went to a background layout department, and then at one moment for a different company, and at one moment the company closed. So the production closed as well as the company. So we are laid off in one morning. So
Ah.
with other teammates, we decided to create our own company. So we didn't have that problem. So that's like 20 years ago.
Another question from the chat is, do you think there's a bright future for 2D animation in movies and series?
In series, definitely, because there are a lot of production. I would say most of the production that I know of are 2D animation, whether are for adults, for teenagers, kids, preschool. There's a lot of 2D animation um, on the different platforms or on TV or whatever. So I think it's a very good moment for 2D animation. Maybe not so much in the mainstream feature film. In other styles, maybe in anime, there are a lot of or more artistic productions. There are more of 2D, more 2D feature films, not so much in the mainstream commercial productions, like, because they are mostly Pixar, DreamWorks, Blue Sky, or Disney, that kind of productions. They don't work on 2D animation anymore, or they hardly do. But on TV, there's a lot of potential and opportunities there, I think.
We got a question from the chat. This is from Ziff. How do you like? Do you like working on individual projects, or do you prefer to work in groups and with other people?
Actually, I like both. In some projects, I like to take care of everything. Like in this one, I take care of all the aspects of the productions, from character design to final production, with the compositing and everything. And some projects, I like them that way. On others, I like to be part of a part of the team in any position that I can best show my capabilities, and I'm also comfortable with. But I would say I enjoy both. I always have a personal project, like some of my own that I do at home, and also, of course, the project that I do for the company. But I like both. I mean, with this tool, it is very tempting to do everything yourself, because you can do. It's very easy to, once you start the scene, and you, with the different tools that you use, you quickly find that you can finish the scene yourself. So I also like that you have the whole control of your animation.
Which of the projects that you've worked on are you the most proud of?
That's a good one. Recently, this one for sure. This year, this for 2020, this project for Toon Boom, I'm very proud of, because of what I was mentioning just now, that I could take care of all the different aspects of production. I really liked it. We are doing work for Disney. That's not 2D animation, that's CGI animation, with their classic characters that I'm very proud of. They're looking very good. So that project that you might find on our website, or our soon to come new demo reel, it will portray some of our latest work, and that includes this work that we did for Disney, that is CGI animation. It's very on point, the quality and the character model and the animation style. I really like that. So from the last couple of years, I would say this one and those works for Disney.
Are there techniques that you feel are underused in animation? Are there styles that you prefer to see more of?
I mean, in styles, yeah, for sure. I would like to see more in terms of styles / target audience. I would like to see more adults, more animation for adults, as a regular basis. When I talk with people of my age, we talk about TV series or series from a platform. All of my friends watch a live action series, and I do myself. But I would like to see more 2D or animation series for adults for different genres like comedy or drama, or it would be great to have more of that. In terms of that, in terms of audience, in terms of style, it would be nice to have more artistic explorations like watercolor or graphite kind of style, different, that the animation gives that possibility, especially 2D animation gives that possibility to have like different looks, different textures, different feelings. So in terms of style, more artistic ones, I think there could be more productions involving those styles, right?
No, absolutely. I can see that we are just under 10 minutes left, so I'm going to ask only a handful more questions.
Okay.
Hookup Animation is a well-regarded animation VFX studio in Buenos Aires, and we realize that this is a really broad question, but as a studio owner, do you have advice for aspiring animators and artists, particularly in Latin America?
Well, yeah, I would say that training is very important. You know, now you have so many resources that you can go and learn animation and different techniques. That is unbelievable. The different training courses that you can sign up to from a lot of different styles. So I would say that training is a very, very important part for aspiring animators. And also, once you start training, you need to have that that hunger to learn even more, to go further. When you find something that you like in animation, a professional that is working a certain way, or a scene that you say, wow, I really love that scene. Watch it in slow motion, frame by frame, and try to analyze what is it that you love in that scene, and try to study, and then try to do that yourself. Try to say, okay, I really love this scene. I study how it's done, and now I'm going to apply this knowledge that I just acquired into a scene of my own, into a demo, into a test. So you learn, you learn by first by studying, and afterwards by doing it yourself. And that applies to animation styles, to different design styles as well, because once you get into animation, almost sure you will have to draw and characters that are not your own. You have to especially if it's 2D animation, you will have to learn how to draw characters that you didn't create, that was created maybe 80 years ago. So you need to also, apart from the animation skills, you need to work on your drawing skills, because that is the tool that will help you draw any character you want from any style, whether it's your own character or character from different studios, whether it's anime, Disney-like characters, or Hanna-Barbera, Warner, whatever character you want to draw. If you have good drawing skills, you'll be able to.
And Gonzalo, when you look at portfolios from applicants, what do you look for?
Depending on the area that I'm looking for. If it's animation, the best portfolio is an animation reel, 1 minute quick time movie, or whatever format you want to produce it. It's fine, showing what you do best. If it's a scene that you are a collaborator with other artists, you just have to tag what part you did of that scene. that you are including in your demo reel. Also helps for character. If I'm looking for a character design, of course, you have different samples, different styles of different types of characters: humans, animals, anthropomorphic characters, animals, but in a anthropomorphic style. Different ages of characters, and different views, different poses. So it varies depending on what artist I'm looking for. If it's just for designing, a portfolio put together with still images, it's fine. If it's for animation, we certainly need to see a demo reel with different scenes and with specifically what collaboration did that artist in that demo reel, right? If it's designing or assistant animation, or if it's key posing, layout, or whatever.
All right. Gonzalo, where can people find you and Hookup Animation online?
Hookup Animation online is hookupanimation.com. On Instagram is Hookup Animation Studio. In my personal Instagram is G Azpiri. I think it's at G Azpiri with a Z, like zebra. And that's it.
All right. Well, that is our show for this week. If you would like to try Harmony, please visit toonboom.com to download a free 21-day trial. And be sure to join us next Thursday for our interview with Anya Shu. She's responsible for the charming hand-drawn scene that looks like a watercolor painting. I think we mentioned it in this interview. Yeah. And you can see a preview of it at blog.toonboom.com. Until next time.
Thank you.